Hello, and welcome to this short video by Assist Knowledge Development. Catwoe is a technique that helps with the analysis of stakeholder perspectives. Firstly, if you imagine the requirements of a business system, they can be elicited in several ways, for example using workshops, interviews, scenarios or prototypes. It is always the case that requirements are based upon the perspectives of the stakeholders, but the problem is that stakeholders often hold different views or perspectives about the same business system, and to compound this, they are not always aware of these differences. So consider a cinema. The cinema owner would probably believe that the business system exists to provide a profitable cinema business that generates profits for shareholders and for investment in the business. However, a cinema customer might believe that the cinema exists to provide a comfortable environment for watching films at a reasonable price. Now, it's not difficult to see that these perspectives might be a source of conflict. By placing emphasis on profit, the cinema owner might be at odds with the customer's requirement to watch films at a reasonable price. The owner might focus on selling different items such as food or merchandise rather than focusing on the customer environment. There is also the need to consider the willingness or otherwise of customers in purchasing these additional items. The ability to understand stakeholder perspectives is a skill. It enables an analyst to clarify where there are differences of view and helps to establish common ground at an early stage. Any differences can then be addressed before they become more serious disagreements. Failure to do this can lead to conflicts emerging at a later stage in the project, at which point it is usually too late or extremely expensive to remedy. Peter Checkland's soft system methodology introduced the Catwoe technique, which is used to understand and consolidate stakeholder perspectives. A Catwoe defines a perspective held by each stakeholder or stakeholder group and considers the following aspects: the customer or customers who are beneficiaries of the business system, the actors or user roles that undertake the transformation or task, the transformation, which is the primary process conducted by the business system that turns inputs into outputs, the worldview, which encapsulates the beliefs and values that underpin the stakeholder perspective. This is usually the starting point for developing a Catwoe. The owner of the business system. That is the person or group of people who can make major decisions about the system, or could, in extreme cases, abolish it. The environment that contains and imposes rules, procedures and constraints upon the business system. When a Catwoe is defined, it is important to consider the worldview first, as this drives all of the other elements. When considering the perspective of a cinema customer, the worldview might be defined by stating that the cinema exists because people like to watch films in a comfortable environment at a reasonable price. We might say that the transformation is to project films in a comfortable environment. The customers are the people who wish to visit the cinema to watch films. The actors are the ticketing sales staff and the projectionist staff. The owners are ultimately the shareholders of the cinema company, and the environment exists within rules defined by national film governance organisations and legislation concerning health and safety. We can then encapsulate this perspective into what is known as a route definition. The route definition here for the cinema customer would be a privately owned system operated by cinema sales and projectionist staff to show films at a reasonable price in a comfortable environment to people who wish to visit the cinema to watch films, within the constraints defined by the film governance organisations and legislation concerning health and safety. This may be contrasted with the perspective of the cinema owner, where the worldview is that the cinema exists to sell tickets, food and merchandise at a profit. The emphasis is on selling items profitably rather than on ensuring reasonable pricing and an enjoyable experience. The customers who benefit are the shareholders who have invested in the cinema, who are also the owners. While the actors include the sales staff and projectionists, there are also actors who determine the financial aspects to ensure that profit is made. The environment imposes legal and regulatory constraints, but the willingness of customers to purchase the tickets and other items at the prices offered is also an environmental factor. It is possible to see many similarities between the different stakeholder perspectives, but there are also some differences as well. The focus of the worldview and transformation varies between a good customer experience and a profitable business model. And the customer is not the person who enjoys viewing films, but the shareholder who is looking for a return on investment. Using Catwoe helps to identify potential areas of disagreement or conflict at an early stage and provides a basis for the analyst to discuss differences and similarities of view with stakeholders. This helps ensure that disagreement does not emerge at a later stage and the project runs more smoothly.